that's where kind of the beauty comes from, is from this pain. Okay, and the longer phrase, and then I think something we can really take a look at the harmonies. The right hand really actually gives us a lot of information on how we could, structure the left hand. Okay. Yeah. Do you have any questions? Any?
Something which has to maintain the longer flow.
No.
When I play, sometimes I feel like I cannot hold the note in my hand.
Yeah.
Just let the hand play.
Oh,
I think basically I need to be more attentive to the consumer.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, let's start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a few tips already at the very beginning. So I know it's forte. I know it's piano. It's too early in the morning. I know it's piano. But I think that, because of the hairpin markings, and you have to also sometimes not only look at the dynamics, but really feel the intervals. That's kind of like a diminished sound, right? I think a few things why it feels difficult to hold the phrase. Because sometimes I think maybe even at this beginning, I think you don't give enough intensity where we need it. That it's very difficult to proceed. It's very difficult to follow after that. Because if you do, it's already so soft. How can you continue? Right? So you see? Yeah, otherwise, because if oftentimes I think maybe you think it's piano, but maybe you're too scared and you don't give yourself enough.
Yeah.
When you have built an art, you have to give yourself enough, at least life, to.
It's more in the room like this. Because when I in my house, like this, in the
Yeah, I think it needs to, but not only based on the root, but even the phrase itself. You cannot have like a flat phrase, right? This is the hairpin. You need to just first of all give yourself enough space. So also in terms of tone production, it's not necessarily a question of being loud or soft. It's more kind of depth. I think more deeper. Not so easy, something like And another thing, slower motion, especially in the longer notes. So don't relax so easily. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even in terms of when you relax. Does that make sense? Not so loose. And the whole. So everything was slow motion, but really dig into it. try not to do fast movement after. Does that make sense? Yeah. So not. Yeah, I would recommend if we were to do something like this, and then go under, and then when you go up, push up. Push to the, yeah. Maybe try that. Yes, but now with more intensity. Yes, push up. Okay, I think it's better than the thing, you know. Yeah, and not don't push up too fast. Yes, don't think so much about pushing, but just continue the momentum basically. Yeah, you can use a little bit of pedal, of course, a little if you want. But it's more just for to make the sound more or less vertical, you know, more below. Oh, feel the interval. Yeah, think of a singer. Think of those. Think of it. It's very, very calm. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Yes, and then you go. Yeah. From the B flat, B sharp, not, but and then continue not too soft yet. And then, right, because we have the crescendo, right? Right, if you get too soft here, how will you continue? Yes, just from here, and then continue sing. Yeah, so a few things. no? Does it make sense? Yes, with the mind. Okay, with the mind and with the ear. Continue. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think so. It feels more like. The main thing is that you have to give enough space so that you can continue. Does that make sense? So always think. I would like to think of these longest like. Yes, and think about how it goes over time. And then? Yes. No. Just continue. E, and then when you play the D sharp, then think of D sharp. Oh, just however long, just follow the score basically. Don't think E and already D sharp. You know what I mean? Yep, you see, you have to think, when you play the violin or cello or sing, when you sing, continue until the end. And that's how you hold the long phrase. You know what I mean? Because piano is too easy. You just like ding, and then it's more so the intention that matters. The intent and the feeling, intention. So you always have to sing, and that includes not relaxing your hand too early. Then you break the phrase too much. You can of course relax, but in the head you think about how the note goes over and then comes back down. T, think rainbow. Think like a conductor or something like that. It's not so I don't know. Of course, something like this piece, of course, you can phrase it. There's so many ways to phrase it, but in general, just keep the kind of intensity. You can play softer even, but keep the intensity. So the intensity is more important than the actual volume. Okay, and here I want not too soft. Don't start this too soft. Just think of it like a conversation. It's very, very much like recitativo. Like there's a lot of retorts here, like a dialogue. Okay? Like speaking. And not too slow, okay? Not too slow. back in the day, you know, the piano was a piano, forte piano. It was much, much less powerful than that today. And the sustain pedal, you know, was also much less powerful. It doesn't last as long. Now, you know, our pianos are much more developed, and you know, so we have to be more careful with the pedal. Yes, but don't make it a point. Don't show the world that you're changing the pedal, okay?
continue.
Don't suddenly get so soft there, because here is.
Yeah, so here.
And then F sharp minor. Not too slow. Continue the phrase. It's such a long phrase. Okay, so here everything's the same. Continue, just continue. Does that make sense? Let's start from that. Yeah, here I'm good. Somehow a bit more freedom there. Easy. sort of a little bit of space. You know, I can hear that it's not it's not as smooth as it can be. Yes, always when you change the note, change it after you play the note. Yeah, you know what I mean. And also when you change the pedal, try not to do accent. Try to separate your foot from the. Yes, better. Yes. Yeah, for example, here, like. And then first time, second time, third time, okay, right? But in general, yes, much more kind of sostenuto and really with the pedal, separate the pedal from how you play. Because sometimes I realize that, you know, when you maybe are a little less conscious, you like to do the same kind of movement. Whenever you play, whenever you take the pedal down, your hands also, you know, so you can hear that it's not so, but now I think now it sounds a bit more like, you know, more sostenuto and everything. Okay, so in general, please take care of that. You know, we don't have much time left. I just want you to see. Always phrase things, okay? And treat the left and right hand like almost like really like Bach. You know? Violin, as you mentioned, violin and bass. So don't think less more or less more. Think maybe the bass, the left hand is more cozy sound, more warmer sound. The right hand maybe is more bright sound or more pure sound. You know, or thicker sound, thinner sound. You can think more in terms of more 3D in terms of how you produce the sound. Yeah. All right, that's kind of my general comments. In general, I think you should just try to flow a little more. But I think that comes from the pedal separating what you do with the pedal with the hands, and really the long notes. Really sing until the end. Sing until the end. Okay, always. And then very, very important. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, try to really be conscious of the flow. Okay, never stop too much. Okay, especially in sections where the harmony is the same. Harmony is the same. Harmony is the same. Harmony is the same. Because if you stop, if you do too much here, for example, then the E major when it comes is not as special because you already did so much here. You know, in terms of. Alright. There's some, you know, a piece like this is very, very personal, so it's very difficult, you know, also to say exactly what you should do, but in general, you know, just freedom, longer line, deeper sound, and make deeper sound so you can contrast it with something that is less deep, you know, so it's more realistic. Yeah, the sound, how you continue, and especially always when you think about the long phrase, especially, you know, you cannot lose too much intensity. It's almost like when you push something, you need to have, at the beginning of a phrase, like when you push something here, you need to have enough momentum so that you can continue. You know what I mean? Yeah. Alright.
So
Great.